This is the best of the week on Relevant Radio.
Maria in Chicago wrote me, she said, I love your show. And I have to say it's brought a lot of clarity to reasons behind the Catholic Church's teaching. She had a question, though, about not scandalizing your priest when you go to confession. She said, I had a priest ask me where acts of impurity occurred. She said it definitely caught me off guard. And she said she could tell he was noticing her shock as well. And it led her to really kind of have some shame around the whole situation and the shame she carried of the sin and making sure she tells the whole truth. She said, on the other hand, she said, she's trying to find the balance here of knowing what's appropriate to share in terms of detail. She's like, can you talk more about this and shed light on how confession should be handled in terms of that ethical side of sharing enough and not too much? So great question, Maria. Summarizing that question there, I think it's important that we've been taught when we go to confession, give number and kind. And if the priest needs more details, I think there's a difference between context and details. I will be frank, I think that sometimes there are two perspectives. One, we try to hide and not be completely honest when we go to confession about what we've done. And sometimes a priest can tell and he might ask a clarifying question. And so we need to be able to prudentially respond and be honest and humble in that moment. On the other side, we also have to be careful that our priests are human as well, and as while they're acting in persona Christi to forgive your sin through the sacrament, the priest could be asking for scandalous details wrongly. And I'm not saying that this is happening, but we have to understand the persona Christi, the priest acting in persona Christi, is him forgiving your sin. He can be flawed even in some of his guidance or in some of his questions that he asks. And so I encourage you to have prudential judgment and caution if you're being asked to give details that are explicit. There's a difference between context and explicit scandalizing detail. And we should be very cautious not to give explicit scandalizing detail, but to humbly and honestly confess our sin without holding something back. So I think that's the key distinction here. That was a great question, Maria. This entire episode of Trending with Timmerie is on the Relevant Radio app. The Relevant Radio app is completely free and updated daily with fresh articles, podcasts, and prayers. Don't delay, download the app today, and thanks for listening.